During this Pride Month, older members of the LGBTQ community are sharing their stories of coming out later in life. A new ABC News Studios special called Late to the Party features people who lived heterosexual lives for decades before ultimately coming out in their 40s and beyond. And former New York Times columnist Charles Blow traveled the country meeting some of these everyday older Americans and joins me now to preview tonight's special. Charles, thanks so much for coming on. I know you also came out as bisexual in your 40s. So what was that experience like, and what drove you to now want to tell all these different stories now?
Well, when I came out, I didn't necessarily have a model or language that did it because it was important to me at the time when I was writing a memoir. But when I went on the road to do a book tour, people would come out to me, older people, and they would say things like, "Thank you so much for giving me language. Thank you so much for being a model for me. Thank you so much for giving encouragement to me." And those stories were always incredibly touching to me. And I realized that the universe of people who were still struggling was large, and that we needed to hear from those people. We needed exposure of that, because regardless of the fact that they had waited, they still needed encouragement. And I wrote about it, and then we produced this documentary with World of Wonder and ABC News Studios, because I think we needed to see these people up close, and to hear their voices and see how moving what they were doing was.
Now, one of the people you speak with in the show is a former Baptist minister. What did you make of how he says he reconciles his faith with his identity as a gay man who's now out of the closet?
Well, I think that this is an interesting phenomenon, particularly among Black people who tend to be more religious, but they have found a way to, as you say, reconcile all of that. They can live the duality of being a spiritual person who is part of the church, but also understanding or believing that their queerness is not in contradiction to that. And I think that is a particular phenomenon that exists in Black gay culture, but also probably in other cultures.
Now, another man you spoke to, Kenneth, is a military veteran who came out when he was 90 years old. What stood out to you about his story?
I think it's the most beautiful, tender, sweet story of the documentary, because he came out, he realized that he was gay and had a gay relationship when it was dangerous to be gay, not just because of, gay bashing that some stranger might do in the street, but also the state itself could arrest you. They could sterilize you. It was really a problem. And so he broke it off with this guy, got married, had a kid. And when COVID started, he and his daughter were clearing out things. And he found a picture of the man who he said had been the love of his life. And that he broke down in tears, and he came out to his daughter for the first time at 90 years old. He tried to find that, and it turns out that he had recently died, and so he could not be reunited with him, but he still believed in love. He still believed that he found that man after 70 plus years, that they would still be in love. And I think it tells us a lot about humanity, the resilience of the heart, the fact that we always want love and acceptance, and to be in love and to find love regardless of how old we are.
So many moving stories. Charles Blow, we appreciate you coming on and sharing a little bit of that with us.
Thank you so much.